Good morning, good life. Welcome back to Amy TV, where we come together to help you go after the life that you want. Are there people around you who are stopping you from getting your best work done? I have a few ideas. One of the biggest responses I hear when I talk about using your time to its greatest potential is about the people who are around us and just can't help but be distracting. Whether it's your kid who has a whole lot to say when you are working at your home computer, or the coworker who's all too excited to continue talking to you at the coffee pot because they don't actually want to go to their desk to start their day. Or it could be somebody who doesn't realize that you had a set amount of time for this phone call and you don't really have all day. We often find ourselves in situations where we're trying to be productive and get things done, and the people around us kind of don't get it. So what are you going to do about it? How do you politely let these people know that they need to move on so that you can focus on what you're doing? That's what I want to talk about today. This episode of Amy TV is also brought to you by Four Sigmatic, because it's not just about helping the people around you get focused, it's about the elixirs in your life as well. Stay tuned for the end of the video for more on this and how you can take advantage of an exclusive discount just for Amy TV viewers. All right, so how are we going to get focused when it comes to the people in our lives, the people who are around us all the time? My first tip is to build subtle signs around you. Maybe you have an office and you can shut the door. Maybe you can have like a little door hanger too that says, "I'm working!" exclamation point. The other thing you can do, which is totally obvious and a great tip for the airplane as well, is just to throw some huge headphones on. A lot of people will just leave you alone because there's such a barrier to entry. But maybe you don't even want to go subtle. Let me give you probably the best example I ever saw of this. I did a tour of an agency office once, and it was an open floor plan, and I saw a girl sitting in a chair, and she was facing her desk, she was on her computer, and she had a sign on the back of the chair. Again, she's at a long desk, lots of people sitting next to her, open floor plan. The sign on the back of her chair said, "I am not here." And I was like, but she is there. Oh, "I am not here" sign, plus headphones, plus not looking away from task means take a hint, buddy. I wanted to introduce myself to that girl so bad, but I was respectful of her time. These are small things that we can do, and they're going to be helpful if you do some of this other stuff as well, because you can't just drop hints all the time. Sometimes you have to be obvious in other ways. And that leads me to my next tip. Communication. Specifically with the people that you run into the most often, the people that trip you up the most, you just need to have a conversation with them. Trust me when I say do not disturb isn't enough. I use do not, my do not disturb is literally on my phone all the time. It doesn't matter. People will get through. So the subtle hints are enough. You need to have a conversation with people and say, hey, when this is happening, I really, really need some alone time. I need focus time. If my door is shut, that's a big indication, like, do not even bother. This isn't gonna work on everyone. And when I say everyone, I'm just talking about adults, okay? Some people just don't take the hint even though they're hearing what you're saying. But at least if you talk about it enough, if you really try to see their side of it and you let them know consistently, hey, again, this is my time and I really need it, you can refer back to that and they can't act like this came out of nowhere. It's going to be hard to have that conversation, but the reality is you've got to have it because most people don't have utter focus in what they do. It's very hard for them because we have so many distractions in this world. And it doesn't mean you don't want to talk to them either, but there's a time and a place for everything. I want to throw a tip in here that's a little bit risky, and that is to the moms of the world, specifically the stay-at-home moms. Here's my tip. Try something. I got nothing else. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I have all the mom hacks. I don't. But the key word here is to try. I feel that the biggest issue in this particular arena is that parent guilt gets the best of you a lot. That guilt's gonna follow you around no matter what you decide to do with your time because there's always somebody else who could use more of you. That's what they think. But if what you're doing is actually improving the quality of life for both of you, specifically for them in the long term, then you've got to be able to make some executive decisions here. That's why you're the mom. A lot of people that I talk to don't even entertain the idea of calling a sitter for a couple of hours just for deep focus. It sounds silly, right? Like, oh, I'll just do it when the kids take a nap or whatever. And things always happen, and we never get into a better groove. But if you just got it into your mind that when you hire a sitter during the day, let's say if you're a work at home mom, and you need 1 to 2 hours alone, every time you have a sitter, you have to be dedicating that block of time to something specific that needs to be done by the end of it. If you treat it like a habit stacking situation, then maybe it'll actually work. But if you never give yourself the chance to figure it out, if you never give yourself the chance to find out, will I actually make the most of the time if I hired a sitter? That's money spent. How do I reap the benefits of that? You can guilt yourself until the end of time. Regardless, you're just hurting your mental state and you're not getting more done. So we can't tell the kids to go away, right? You can't tell the kids, guys, leave the office. Although I would argue, I bet there are quite a few kids out there that listen better than adults when you say, when mommy's door is shut, you can't come in. But it's still going to be very hard to do that. You are still to be a responsible adult and take care of your children. No neglect around here, okay? No task is worth that. But my challenge is for you to just try something, and at the risk of you wanting to punch this non-mom in the face, I'm just saying it's very easy to say that I'm responsible for my kids, so I can't do this kind of thing if you've never actually tried more than once to see what could be possible. That could be customized to your life. There may be something I've advised here that's not gonna work for you, but a percentage of it could, and that could get you closer. So put in the work to find what that looks like for you, if you care about it enough. And I know you're gonna care about your kids more no matter what, but do we need to consider a few more areas of our life to be elevated to importance? My next tip is to set reminders and make sure they go off out loud. Like very loud. One thing I like to do when I know there's potential for a phone call to go long, or if it's coming to the end and it doesn't seem like it's ending, is I will set a timer to go off very loud in the background so that the person on the other end of the line can hear it. I actually, for this, because if I'm on my phone, I can't use my phone as a timer, I use my time cubes for this. So let's say I'm like, oh, I'm giving these guys 5 more minutes. When this thing goes off, it's a little loud, and I make sure that the phone's like, right, oh, that's my time. So that's really useful, but you can always set an alarm on your phone if you're doing something away from a phone call. Let's say you're walking to go get water from the water cooler, and you know somebody's gonna be like, all like, oh, thank goodness somebody's here, I wanted to procrastinate. Maybe you should set a timer on your phone and say, you need to be back in your desk in 5 minutes, so that not only that thing is challenging you, it's challenging somebody else to shut it down when you're like, oh shoot, gotta go. Timers work wonders. It's actually probably there's gotta be some science to that. When a timer goes off or when an alarm goes off, all these things that we're just like programmed to like conform. What is that? Next, I want you to learn the phrase hard stop, and then I want you to learn to follow through on that. I enter a lot of scenarios where I say, so happy to be here. Let's get focused. Let's spend time together and really not be distracted, but I have a hard stop at X time. When you say those words, you shouldn't use them maybe too much because you don't want to overuse it where everybody's like, okay, Amy's always got a hard stop. You know, that's not always true. But when you say it, you've got to follow through on it so it actually means something. At the end of the day, it's that small communication you did to be able to say, I have a hard stop. Reminder, hard stops in 15 minutes, so that when that time comes, if somebody's just still going and not being respectful of time, not because they're terrible people, but just because they're not thinking about it. It's not their priority. It's not the way that they tick, and that's fine. Literal tick. Oh my gosh, that was terrible. You get to just say, look, this is my hard stop. See you later. Bye guys. Let's recap this on an email or something else. Like, let me know. You've got to move on. Otherwise, people don't learn to get more efficient in a set period of time. And my last tip is not my favorite tip, but I think it does work for a lot of people, and that is to leverage autoresponders. I'm definitely going to be doing this during the summer because I'm going to be away from my email so significantly. But emails are very easily distractions. People don't have to stand next to you to make you decide to deviate from what you're doing. You need to let people know that you're not just on call when an email comes in. And so I see a lot of people do this where they have an email that goes out all day long, except for the hours that they do check email, which I think is a little aggressive. Like, just because I sent you an email doesn't mean I need a response right now. So I definitely don't need your autoresponder cluttering my space. and saying, I only check email at 5 p.m. Thank you so much for sending this to me. No, I don't need that. I don't need that. If you're out of the office on vacation, sure, makes sense. If you're out of the office on any other occasion, then you need me to have the contact information of somebody else so that we can officially get something done. Awesome. But I do think that strategy works for people, so I wanted to put it out there. My preference is that I'm still going to email people back, but in the signature of my emails, every single email, it says, footnote, just so you know, I only check email once or twice a day. I can't tell you when that will be, but if this is more urgent than a couple of days, you should probably hit up Meg, and I will put Meg's email address at the bottom. That way, it's a personal email from me, but it still has the disclosure in it in case anyone's like furiously looking for my phone number or more information. There's information there that says, here's how you get a hold of me faster. It's probably through somebody else. But these technologies are very useful. If you can use them to set boundaries, it's great, especially if you're not good at setting those boundaries in person. Start setting them digitally and see what you're capable of there, and you might just find that those policies that live on the internet can be moved into real life. That was a good tip, girl. Didn't even write that one down. All right, let's share what we learned today in a tweetable. Don't compromise yourself. You are all you've got. Janis Joplin. Now I want to hear from you. What's your way of politely telling somebody to buzz off? I want to know your tip. It has to go in the comments below because we got to add this to the archive of things that we can all do when we are in a weird situation where we're just trying to get something done. This video is all about focus, and it's not just about getting people to let you work, but also having the tools and the elixirs that help us to focus at our greatest ability. And that's why I'm so excited to shout out Four Sigmatic for sponsoring this episode of Amy TV. Let me tell you my favorite. I've completely stepped up my coffee game with the coffee with Lion's Mane. This is the productivity coffee, I'm telling you. So this is coffee, but it's mushroom coffee with Lion's Mane. And the reason that it is so fancy like that is that it supports focus, creativity, memory, concentration, and brain health. I literally feel like I'm in a completely different zone when I am drinking this coffee than any other kind. There's not like that crazy jitteriness of normal coffee, and this gives me that balance I need to keep my brain on the task. I'm also a really big fan of the mushroom coffee with cordyceps. This is great for performance, and it's gonna help you to sustain those energy levels. Go to their website and try to get a feel for what it is you're looking for so that you can search for the right elixir or coffee for you. I cannot wait for you to try this mushroom life to focus and get stuff done. I will list the products that I talked about in the description below, and if you want to get 15% off your first order, the link is down there as well. Thank you so much to Four Sigmatic for sponsoring this episode of Amy TV. That's all for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it as always. Make sure you subscribe for good vibes, kiss the ones you love, and go after the life you want. Cheers. I'm really distracted by the fact that I have a ponytail today. Other than wanting to punch me in my mom nom. Damn, I almost nailed that.